Hello, fine folks. Welcome. Okay. I think all the preparations are done. My name is Josh Foreman. I make fantasy novels. I do lots of visual development for said visual novels. Fantasy novels with visual development. Boy. Hopefully my mouth catches up with my brain at some point today. Right now, I'm in the middle of a large diorama project for my Shadow of the Colossus project. There be the Shadow of the Colossus. Well, there's his head. He's hanging out, waiting for his home to be created. And part of his home is a large tower. And this is the base of the tower that I've made so far. We worked on this gate last week. Let's see if we can get some closure on what we were working on last week. So we started painting it, right? And there we go. Yeah. And yeah, here it is in all its gatey glory. It can open and close. So I'm turning this into a dice tower, and the idea is the dice are going to come down a large tower, pop out here, and land in this little swimming pool area. And now that the base is brought to the point where all that's left on it is like the detail kind of work, you know, adding moss and lichen and stains and that kind of stuff. All is going well, Reaper John. Thanks for saying so. Yeah, the tower is what I've got to work on now, and just to give you an idea of what's going on said tower. Okay, here we go. So this is it's going to be about 5 feet tall when all is said and done. There we go. There's the top. And then it goes all the way down there, and that's where it's going to meet the base that we just saw. How many of y'all kids remember all your base are belong to us? That's what we've got going on right now. Right, so right now I'm working on the little decorative element that's going to go along the top. Obviously it looks very ugly, but that's what everything looks like at this stage. You can see on there, I'm trying to do a bit of a echo of that sort of motif, the circles inside of circles with little triangle guys. So that's what I'm going to be doing on the top here, this little crown molding element. But first I have a little bit of a very short thing I want to get done here with let's get just a little closer, with these little products that I'm developing for my website. So I've got this collectible medallion, very shiny, for our first book. I'll be making one for the second book and all subsequent books. That's the plan. And we're going to have silver and gold. And so I made these little, you can see them better when they don't have gunk all over them. But yeah, it's got my little Tales from Talifar logo on it. And then the fancy version that you get with the gold coin is got this area down here for the author's signature, where me and my co-author will sign it. And then you have this little I don't know, plinth? What is this thing even called? It's a coin holder. Yeah, so I 3D printed these the other day. and I got some weird like wobble lines in the 3D print, so I basically took some epoxy clay and I've been there we go, just patching over the wobbles, and now I need to sand those down a little bit. Thought you might like to see what it's like to clean up a 3D print if you've never done so. It's pretty common. Very rarely does a 3D print come out ready to go. Sometimes it happens, but pretty rare. So because the texture on these is supposed to be kind of a well, it's definitely a shaped rock, but it's like semi-finished rock. I went ahead and when I globbed on my epoxy clay, I did it in a somewhat, well, haphazard isn't the word, but naturalistic, splotchy way. And that's how you drop it. If you ever need tips on how to drop your art, I am your guy. Like I said, this is a pretty quick process. Like I gotta do this and then spray a primer over it. And hopefully that'll bring it all together. We shall see. Yeah, you can definitely see where the line is, you know, it goes from gray to this whiter color because the whole thing jostled over. It's because when it comes up out of the resin vat, these were printed together like this, and there's this large flat area, and I believe what happens is there's suction pressure that kind of holds it to the mat, so when it pulls out that time, it like jostles just, you know, just enough, a pixel or two, so that you don't notice it on this piece because it's part of it, but it is probably jostled over a pixel or two, but you do notice because there's this very, you know, these obvious clean lines going up. If it was an organic creature or something, you would not notice at all. A double-handed art draw. Wow, don't say that I am not here to please. Are you not entertained? I don't know how much it counts when you drop something on purpose, and you know, it's like it's kind of like tickling yourself. You can't really do it. So this one had just a bit of print lines on it that I am covering up with the epoxy clay. And then I've got, so this sanding sponge is a little bit finer grit than what I was using, just to make sure I'm not leaving a bunch of scratchies behind. And I feel like, you know what, it's going to take 20 seconds to spray these. Let me do that real quick, and then we'll get right back to the diorama. So we'll see the result in a couple minutes. All right, were you timing me? Was that 20 seconds? May have been using a slight bit of hyperbole. All right, this is also a 3D print that I did for my dice. It's a revision on my first attempt, which ended up breaking. The bell broke off of the tip when I dropped it from a sufficient height, and I didn't feel like selling a dice that could actually break. So I redesigned it with these stanchions that the bells can like pop into and be glued, like epoxied in super well. So yeah, that's what's going on there. All right, now let us diorama. Here's what I got cooking. Ignore the background sheet these are on. This is just, you know, a texture sheet that I got that I don't imagine I'll ever do anything with, but it's handy for when you're painting and Mod Podging to have a surface to set it on that's not completely flat so it doesn't get glued straight to the surface. So these are simply googly eyes with some O-rings put on the middle of them. And once you stick them in, oops, and it looks like they don't glue down perfectly well, but we can work on that. Yeah, so these will go in here, and my hope is that it'll end up, after everything's painted and put together, that it will look like they're all part of a carved sort of block. I'm gonna super glue this little guy back down. Yep, good old E3. I recorded a interview for it like a week or so ago for my day job on a game called Blanco's Block Party. And so in theory, I'm going to be presenting at E3. Look forward to that. Which probably means that you're going to see like half a sentence of mine mixed in with coworkers and stuff. Yeah, I miss the E3 and the PAX and all them good stuff. Also, yesterday I just recorded a panel for San Diego Comic-Con about storytelling in video games. Okay. I'm trying to decide if I want to glue these guys down first, probably because inevitably there's going to be glue strands And since I'm going to have to be cutting in details and stuff around here anyway, I might as well, um, you know, do all the cutting in one fell swoop. Well, thanks, Quindy. I think it's pretty swell, too. Okay, let's see. Glue strands are going to end up pulling out this way. And one thing, I don't know how easy it is to tell with, you know, black on black, but like these are just crumbs of styrofoam that I put in there that were the right height, more or less. I didn't really pay attention to the shape of them because they're going to mostly be filled by these little things. And it doesn't bother me at all that it's deeper on some areas and not on others. Rocks always erode at different speeds depending on what sort of minerals are in them. You love crumbs? Some crumbs are amazing. I think my favorite pie is, what is that kind that's like pretty much just mostly crumbs on top? Maybe it's called a crumble? I don't know. I think it's some kind of like oatmeal-ish brown sugar butter concoction that makes a semi-crispy, crumbly top. Cobbler, coffee cake, yes, both those things. I'm not sure what the difference of the crumbly stuff on top is, but man, I love me some of that crumbly stuff. Apparently my O-rings popping off is going to be a recurring theme. It was not a one-off fluke. Well, drat. Didn't happen last time. I think I actually started by super gluing them down, but it was difficult to get them centered because I had not painted them first. So, you know, they're googly eyes with like a black circle in the background, so it's really hard to center something on that on a transparent dome. The layer of Mod Podge that I put on there, Mod Podge mixed with black paint, I thought would hold it in place well enough, but it was a pretty thin layer, so I'm not shocked that it's not holding it. Once I put the final shell coat, the sludge coat of Mod Podge and paint over it all, I'm pretty confident that's going to hold it in place. Still get a little shaky sound. blueberry cobble. That sounds amazing. I love blueberries and I love cobbles. So sign me up. Tell your uncle he's got a fan in the greater Seattle area. Streusel, yes. I honestly can't say exactly what that is, but I'm pretty sure every time I've heard the word and had it in the past, I've really liked it. Does that have the like cream cheese filling in it, or am I getting that confused with something else? I am not up on my baked goods lingo. As a strudel. Ah. Let's see. What is a Dutch apple pie compared to a regular apple pie? Sadly, the only association I have with Dutch anything is a Dutch oven, and I'm pretty sure that it has nothing to do with Dutch apple pie. Fortunately for my younger siblings, I'm the oldest of 5. I've always hated everything to do with the fact that we have physical bodies, and so I've never found humor in fart jokes or fart pranks or Dutch ovens, for example. That's my understanding, is most people's experience is an older sibling Dutch ovening them, but it's something I never did. I tormented my siblings in other ways, but never that way. Regular has a lattice topped crust. Dutch has a crumb topping. Well, in that case, sign me up for the Dutch apple pie, please. We have established I am a crumb fanatic. I even like the movie Crumb about the comic artist, just because by association, the name, the transitive property of the name, Crumb, is enough to get me really happy. Okay, we are done gluing these guys. Now, we get to glue these guys. These are, you know, everyone is familiar with the T7Z411520460 line of little metal triangle stud guys. Cobble is made with crust on top too, and during the baking, the fruit rises into the crust. Into the crust? Like it infuses the crust with its fruity goodness? Is that what you mean? Okay, these I don't even think need to be glued because the Mod Podge coat that goes over is going to thoroughly soak all around the edges and get these guys cemented in place pretty well. One thing I have not quite figured out yet is how I am going to connect the front and the sides, because there is a size discrepancy. You see there's this like 3/4 of a brick length, more or less, which I'm not sure if it needs to be there, but you know, if there's a triangle end piece here and a triangle end piece here, and they go like this, that's going to be really awkward. Like there's going to be this weird dead space there and then weird dead space there. Well, I say weird, but that's probably overstating the case. I suppose if there is a specialty shaped block there, that could make sense, because there's a little bit of distance after the triangle, a little bit of distance after the triangle. Maybe best. Let's look at how it fits on top here. Assuming I could find it. Is this, how are we doing on Zoom? Aha, okay. That was my problem. Cool. Okay, so this guy's gonna go here, and as you can see, there is considerable amount of overhang on the side. So if I put one of these side boys here, then hang this over, it's going to actually, I believe, overlap on both sides. I guess it's pretty close either way. All right, I think I've convinced myself that I'm just going to go with what I have here, and then I will kind of sculpt over that corner joint to make it all consistent. I do tend to often revert to sculpting as a patching solution. I'm still working on my foam cutting skills when it comes to what is the word I'm looking for? Reconciling different angles and stuff like that. That is a whole skill unto itself that I have not mastered yet. I'm an organic sculptor is my comfort zone. So when I have to do things that have planes and angles, and especially when I have to plan them out and make them meet, that's when things start to get away from me. You know, something that just occurred to me, I've got these like round pits, right? But is there a reason I couldn't put just a really nice border ring around them like so? Probably the fact that I don't have enough of them, but that is awfully nice. Like that just hides a multitude of sins. I believe I have 13 of them to fill, and I have probably, what, 8 of these? 2, 4, 6, I have 7 of these. However, I do have another pack of O-rings, and I may have a practically identical size. One moment. If I can find where I hid them from myself, as I always do. Yeah. Looks like I do not have any that size. It's the next closest size I have. And you know, it doesn't have to be identical either. Okay, these are pretty darn close. These are a bit thicker than these, but the radius is the same, or diameter, or I guess in this case both. Diameter and radius are the same. But let's just see how many of these I have. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. So if I do use these guys, just out of curiosity, are these actually different? Yes. And then I could use, yeah, 3 of these guys on my non-camera facing side. Then I think we're good. Assuming that they still work, even though they're a little bit smaller than the others. Yeah. Yeah, that should totes work. Okay. Crust is more cakey. So in the great cake and pie debate, I'm almost always on the side of pie. But it really depends on the cake, because if a cake is sufficiently moist and covered in quality frosting, and filled with things like, I don't know, chocolate chips or something, then I will go for the cake over the pie. Unless it's a crumble, I will always go for a crumble. So the thing about using nitrile rings is that they're rubber, they don't paint well until you put Mod Podge over it, and they are too perfect for ruins that have been eroding over the years. They don't match the rest of the stone, which has lots of dings and nicks and such. So therefore, just go in and add dings and nicks and such. It's just a little tricky because rubber is, well, you know, it's rubber. It's not the funnest thing to work with when you're trying to carve and sculpt it. It can get away from you real fast. You got to hold it so close to where you're cutting that it's like, I always feel like I'm in danger of accidentally slicing myself. But yeah, just a nick or two here and there can go a long way, helping bring everything together. So now I'm trying to decide if I'm going to, oh wait, look at this. Look at this. I caked, speaking of cake, caked this gunk over my beautiful rock seam lines. Or so it would seem. So I could hot glue around here and then pop it on, and that would probably hold it until I get the Mod Podge over it. But it's also going to inevitably end up bubbling out around the sides in really annoying ways. So the other thing is to try super glue, which has the disadvantage of, you know, it's not great going over organic crumbly surfaces like these. But let's give it a try and see what happens. I could spray some of my quick set on there. I kind of wonder if maybe getting it in place for all of these and then a spray of quick set over all of them might be a good way to go. The only reason I could use super glue here is because I have this this is a black paint and spackling mix, the black smear that you see there. The super glue does, if you put it on your XPS foam, it will generally melt through it. Yeah, this. Which on ruins is not the worst thing, assuming it's in a place that you're happy to have be eroded. Sometimes you need places to not be eroded. But also sometimes you end up with happy accidents. You're like, oh, I didn't think of eroding that spot, but it looks really good. Okay, so here's an annoying thing. I centered this, you know, more or less in its block, but now I see that the boss stone down inside is not centered. I could fix that. I could tear it all up and move it over, but this is the non-camera side, as in I'm building this diorama to be viewed from certain angles, and I'm not overly concerned with two sides of my diorama, so that's a big time saver if, you know, you happen to be lucky enough to be building it for a particular thing like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just take that time savings, put it in the bank. Oh, by the way, here's some super glue munching through there. That's where I put that little drop of super glue. Depending on the light, you can see it more or less. But yeah, that can be fun effects sometimes. Okay, now it's probably a good idea to, since I encountered this last issue, why not just put them all on roughly, double check that everything is centered nicely, and then glue them down. Also, occurs to me, hey, triangles first. They're doing a lot of the kind of visual anchoring of where center points are, so it would make sense to get those situated before adding the rings. just kind of leave those loosely dangling off the edge, maybe, or do I want to stick some hot glue to kind of have them be a little, yeah, because I can do a sort of a soft anchoring, just a little drop. So I can still flex it as needed when I attach it to the corner, but it's not going to risk falling off in the meantime. Also, I don't know why I keep reaching in this bag over and over again and fumbling around and stabbing myself when I could just pour out a certain amount. I know I'm going to need more than one or two. Wow. I could do it. Yes. Did it. Let's see if I could do it better this time. No, just everyone is so captivated by my incredible work that they are stunned into speechlessness, is clearly what's happening here. Okay, so do I still have the ability to center these in a way that I'm happy with? So yeah, once I added these triangles, it became apparent like that this hole is not really centered between the triangles. So if I center the ring on the hole and the thing underneath it, it's kind of offset. So I need to move this over. I need to pop this guy up. Hopefully I can just pop that guy up. Kinda. And now I'm wondering, do I... No. I have in my mind's eye the approximate amount it needs to be scooched over, so I think I can pull this off freehand, as it were. Yeah, that works. Okay. Isn't it ironic that when I get more focused, the camera tends to get out of focus? Do you think the camera feeds off of my focus and vice versa? Oh, I forgot to do my little abrasions here. Actually, just out of curiosity, if I don't think this will do anything to nitrile, because it's, yeah, this rubber is specifically designed to, like, bounce and deflect everything off of it. It can only be cut, it cannot be impressed upon. Who does that song, That Don't Impress Me Much? Is that Shania Twain? Whoever made that song, they were writing it about a nitrile O-ring for plumbing. I wonder if I can make a little... I don't even think this will work, because poking straight in and rotating around, unless I'm actually removing material while I do that, it's just going to snap right back into place. So I can't really get like little pits. I can only get slashes. But you know, it's okay. It's okay to only get slashes sometimes. Are you saying yes to the fact that Shania Twain created the song? I don't know if it's called That Don't Impress Me Much, but that's, you know, that's like the chorus or whatever. That would be a miracle. I literally never listen to country. I don't even know how I know that song. So you're a rocket surgeon. That don't impress me much. Yeah, how do I know that? I mean, that's not the literal lyrics, but it's weird that I know that. It's just for the record, it's weird. Yeah. I'm also overly familiar with Garth Brooks. I got friends in low places, where the whiskey flows and the beer chases my blues away, and I'll be okay. I'm guessing, here's what I'm guessing. Both of those songs probably came out during my high school years, and I lived in a rural place called North Pole, Alaska, and so I had enough friends and acquaintances that were into country that I absorbed it through them. That's gonna be my guess. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Is that a country lyric song? Or a country song lyric? I thought it was just a kind of a generic dad joke phrase. Although I suppose building a song around a generic dad joke phrase is totes legit. It's been done. Can be done again. It's funny when I use hot glue on these things, they conduct the heat so well that when I touch them, it's almost like touching a drop of hot glue, but it doesn't stick to you. Oh, you expunged Achy Breaky Heart from your brain? Replace them with lyrics of. Oh, nice! Yeah, I grew up not exposed to most radio music. I was raised evangelical, and in that particular subculture of evangelicals, there was, Christian music and secular music. And secular music was made by bad people and talked about bad things. So I wasn't exposed to that, but the legal loophole was that I could listen to parody and satire. So I was a huge Weird Al fan, and all of my experience of music from the 70s and 80s is as translated through Weird Al. And I am still to this day often taken aback when I'm walking through the grocery store or the mall or whatever, and I hear a song and I'm like, why are they playing Weird Al? And then it's like, no, this is U2 or this is Madonna or whatever. Whoa. So that's what it was a parody of. Beer for horses and whiskey for my men. Yeah, I vaguely remember that too. I wonder why. Poor Amy Grant. Yep, that was. There was a beautiful moment in the self-ghettoized Christian right where we had our own entertainment industry and everything was pure and beautiful and wonderful. And then Amy Grant just broke it all, just destroyed it with her heathen song about love for a person and not God. You can't do that. And it was all downhill from there. Then we got like, what's that? It's a really pretty song. I actually really like that song. Kiss me under the something something. Dun, 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 dun. Beautiful song. Very fun. Played in public spaces all the time now. That was a, quote unquote Christian band as well, on a Christian label. Sanctified, holified. Sixpence none the richer. Thank you. Were they a one-hit wonder? I think they were probably a one-hit wonder, at least in the broader market. Amy Grant lived 80 miles from you. Was in the school with her kids. She'd use the kids as a test group for. Only concert you've almost gotten into a fist fight at. Oh my. I brought my son to a Weird Al concert, I don't know, probably 7, 8 years ago. It was a good time. Oops. Oh no, I cut all the way through. I wonder if that's actually not a bad thing. Because it's still going to want to snap back into place. Huh. That could be totally legit. I believe my first cassette tape was Weird Al as well. Um, yeah, it was. What was the one that was before Bad? Or, I mean, Even Worse. Um, did he have multiples before Even Worse? It was the one that had My Bologna and uh, Mr. Whatever and the Iron Lung. Like his old school stuff. He was first discovered by Dr. Demento. It might just be called Weird Al. It might be self-titled. Oh, your first concert was Journey. Nice. I don't remember what my first like real musical artist concert was. You know, it's like there's so many borderline ones where it was just at church, but you know, Amy Grant type of musician. I can't remember all their names now. You know, that whole sort of thing where they would tour churches, usually you know bigger like mega churches, um, but smaller ones as well. Sadly, when I really got into music, like music for music's sake, wasn't until my high school years, and that was the point at which I lived in North Pole, Alaska. So, ain't no bands touring through North Pole, Alaska. I had to start my own band, so I started a evangelical, preachy, Christian heavy metal band called Dead Pharisees, because we couldn't get bands to come to us, so we just had to make our own band. I'm going to give you guys 3 guesses to guess what role I played in the band. 3 guesses, and after that, if you don't get it right, you all just die. That's the rules. Cyndi Lauper at Six Flags. Ooh. How does one give an impromptu performance? Like, did she have a live band or did she just have... Oh, God, that actually brings back a memory of one time. Okay, here we go. Another deep cut. Hopefully not on my finger. There is a medicine. Okay, that's the name of the song, I believe. It was a big hit in the Christian music circles. That guy did come to Alaska. I think he went to Fairbanks, but that was only, 20 miles from us. And we were so excited because he was a legit music artist. It was a real concert. But it turned out it was literally like his whole backing was just on tape. So he was basically karaokeing to his own songs. Very disappointing. He may have had a keyboard. Percussion tuba. Close. Close. Drummer. Nope. Nope. You guys have one more guess before you're all dead. Kazoo. Wow. Wow, you guys. All right. Well, I'm feeling generous today, so I'm going to let you all live and just let you know that I was the vocalist. The vocalist. We were the kind of heavy metal that does not require singing. Let's put it that way. So it does not matter that I have a voice like Kermit the Frog, because I can scream and growl and howl like anyone. Oh, I missed flute. Oh, you're already dead. Yep, Cookie Monster Metal. Weren't we talking about this last time? Emmett Otter and the something jug band, the Muppet movie / show from the 80s. That's where I got my love for heavy metal, is from that Wolf, which was essentially proto death metal. It's metal discussion time, apparently. Best album that came out this year, Zayo, The Crimson Corridor. Check it out, you guys. That's one of those bands that started out in the Christian music market, and then they did kind of a ship of Theseus thing where, you know, one guy left and then was replaced, and then another guy left and was replaced, etc., until none of the original band members are still in the band. But you know, like we're like 28 years or something on, and still goes by Zayo. It's great. And I shouldn't say none of them. Most of them are no longer of the faith, shall we say. So they have this really funky following where it's like they still have a lot of people in that area. Who is calling me? This might be important. One second. Hello? This is. Ah, yes. 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 Oof. I hope that's not a portent of anything to come. Yeah, okay. 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 Right. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. You too. Bye. It was important. Yeah, I had this. Have you ever heard of a flexible spending account where you like get money taken out of your paycheck, pre-tax dollars that you can spend on medical, copays and what are those things where you get medicine? Prescriptions. There you go. My brains. Yeah, I got one of those and the card wasn't working, and they're like, yeah, you're showed as terminated from your job. That's why your card's not working. I'm like, great, great. As far as I know, they're very happy with me. I don't think they would have interviewed me for E3 if they were planning on terminating me. We've been trying to contact you about your extended warranty. Metal discussions being about lead and pewter. Yep. Always happy to talk about lead and pewter as well. So. Which is the heavier of the metals, lead or pewter? I honestly don't know. Ah, everything's falling apart. Try this again first. Do a drop of glue. Okay. Then we'll put this on. Okay. We'll get this centered. I'm going to scooch this over a bit to get that centered. Hopefully. Okay, then we've got to reattach this little guy. Lead is heavier. Scrying, what am I working on? You know, now would be a great point to introduce folks who came in a little bit later. So we'll start with the macro. We're making a decoration. This decoration is going to go on the top of this tower. Okay, this tower, which you can see goes all the way back there, is going to slot into this tower base. This tower base is going to go into a large diorama that is going to include things like that mountain back there. All of that is to be a home for this guy, the shadow of the Colossus, Colossus named Barba. There you go, full zoomed out context. For even more context, you can check out my YouTube channel at Josh Foreman. I have a 30-something part series where I built the Colossus. It's kind of a mix of creature, character, and architecture design, because the Colossus, their armor is all essentially architecture, like Gothic cathedral parts stuck together in fun ways. And as a fun bonus, this tower that I'm working on for that diorama is also going to be a dice tower. You remember all the old timers whining and complaining when the changes started, but they're light. They don't feel right. Yeah, it's so funny compared to right, the various plastics and resins that we use for the most part now. It's cool that Reaper still makes their line of pewters, but hey Mechatech, it's going pretty well. Just still chugging along on this crazy massive dice tower. I mean, how do you know that spreadsheet isn't the secret to saving the world at some point? You never know. Aliens could descend from the sky and demand a very particular spreadsheet, and you're the one who made it. And as you hand it to them, the music swells, the crowds cheer. I was gonna say women cry, and then I realized, oh, that's kind of an old sexist trope, isn't it? Why are the women gonna be the ones crying? Okay, so one thing I'm seeing is that got like they're not terribly consistent height wise. It is encouraging that they are staying stuck. Like, it takes a little bit of work to pry them off, so that means they'll stay in place while I'm doing the Mod Podge coat. Yeah, I should really, let's see, grab this guy. Oh, you got a nice print coming along? Nice. That is always a great feeling. I'm okay with a little bit of variation. This is supposed to be, you know, a hand-carved place, but within reason, people. Seems reasonable to me. If your spreadsheet has saved the world, pay raise is certainly more than warranted. Letting your printers rest. Okay, now is that a metaphorical thing or is that an actual necessity? Like, do they overheat? Because I know people who use 3D printers, you know, in their business and they have them running like not quite 24 hours a day, but a lot, pretty close to that. And I wonder if burning them out is just part of the process. Also, I guess it depends on if you're using an FDM or a resin. All right, fine. That's going to be fine. Yes, giving your brain a rest from dealing with all the technical stuff, always a good idea. For some reason it's stuck really well in that one spot and not at all in these other spots. Okay. Okay, the other thing, before I start trying to like actually attach these corners, I want to do the little joints. Let's call them joints. I'm trying to figure out the way to do these straight down. $120 hours? Wow. Airship is FDM. on an Anycubic Chiron. 4 playable levels. 2 feet long. Wow. That's going to be epic. Okay, so I could, let's see, put it like this, and then cut along the ruler straight down. I don't like how it's going to weaken it, but also it's going to be attached directly to a wall anyway, so probably should not worry about it. You know what, if I'm going to do that, actually using the Proxon, it's going to be way faster and easier. And not ruin all of my blades. Let's break out the old Proxon. Okay, so easiest way to do this is to kind of slice this way. Well, I'm not super confident in how flat this edge is, and if I go this way, like I'd have to remove these little knobbies, obviously, which is not a big deal. But then I also have to like readjust my gate on every cut. As opposed to, let's see, doing a flat this way. Where's my little, there you are, hiding. So I can if this had a more free, oh, that's right. This is how I've been doing it. By taking this guy. Let's see, doing like so. I've been using lychee as well lately. I was using Chitu Box and got really frustrated with how difficult it was to manually adjust things. And I watched some videos on the lychee and was like, oh, this looks way easier. And then I started using it and I was having almost just as many problems. They really want you to upgrade to the Pro version or whatever. Ooh, look what I just discovered. i.e. forgot about. Got tape on the back here. Hot wire does not like to cut through duct tape. It can, it just doesn't like it. Yeah, I can't get it to auto thing anymore. Do the auto supports at all. Like, it just, I press the button and it does nothing, and I don't know why. I should probably just go back and watch the tutorials again. Almost brought a new printer today. What pulled you back from the precipice? Looks like catching on over there. Alright. Well, now I've got little phalanges. Flippant nature of all that stuff. I use my 3D printer to make this dice for from my book. These little characters called the Rumshaw use these dice, and when they're bartering, they roll the dice, and if there's bells that go on the tips of all of these areas, and if it's gold bell up, then you pay nothing. If it's iron bell up, then you pay double, and if it's silver, there's two other silver sides, then it's just the agreed upon price. But I also made sure that it could be used as a regular dice by putting these really subtle little pips at the bottom of each of the triangle pinnacle points. Well, that's not what I wanted to focus on, is it? Yeah, I think a lot of people have that problem. More hobbies than you got time for. Okay. So I have this issue where under the triangle, these bricks here are wide, and then it goes narrow, and then in theory it should be like, because it's dividing the area between these triangle tips in two, it should be equal, but like it clearly didn't quite hit that. So just gonna manually clean up some of these. Cool for all the ones under the triangles to be wide, but these guys should be closer to the same. What, how did my blade get so dull already? Oh, well, I'm gonna have to do a lot of cleanup on this for sure. But I think the procedure is sound. It's just a matter of, you know, nailing the procedure. Okay, mods, we are coming up on our hour and a half, so let's get ready to raid someone cool. Pleased to be the raid. And I will do my last pluggables. My name is Josh Foreman. You can find me on YouTube. I've got a channel full of art tutorials and mostly around nerdy related art type projects. I write books. Please check out my books if you enjoy fantasy novels. They're very highly rated. They are on Amazon, ebook and paperback, full of illustrations that many of which I made on my streams. I also stream on my own Twitch channel every Wednesday night at 6 Pacific and Sunday afternoon at 1 Pacific. And all my socials are visible up above. If you want to follow me on the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter, etc. Boy, my eyes are super blurry right now. Haunter? Okay, there we go. Into tabletop gaming, just painted some miniatures and spray varnishes. Okay to use. I really have no other options. Asking in general. Chat should be able to guide you better on that. The problem that I have with answering that kind of question is that different countries call things different things. Different paints have different properties. In general, the stuff that is called varnishes around where I live are totally fine. But yes, be sure to double check that. All right, we're getting ready to raid Jimmy the Brush. Exciting times. Okay. Have a good one, everyone. See you later.